Welcome back to another episode of Timebreaker Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel.
And I'm Anthony.
And welcome back to episode 21 of Timebreaker Podcast. This time, the most recent Lucasfilm Star Wars show, the Book of Boba Fett, has wrapped. So we're going to be talking about all of our thoughts, the good, bad, and the ugly of that show quite recent, in this episode. But really quick, just want to talk about, last couple days ago was the Super Bowl, and Hollywood takes that opportunity to release a lot of big trailers for the first time. They dropped the TV spots and then they release the full-on trailers later on. So really quick, just want to recap some of the trailers. So right off the bat, Doctor Strange is probably the biggest one. What were your thoughts?
It was a really good trailer. It has some, some teases in there, but beyond that, it felt like a very generic Marvel trailer, and that's fine. They're actually really good trailers most of the time, so I don't think I'm any more excited than I already was. So it did a job.
Yeah, for me personally, there's a lot going on in the trailer, and I'm sure you can nitpick and pick out all these Easter eggs. So, but I'm not that type of guy. I want to be surprised. The thing I'm most excited about is the poster. The official poster came out for it too, and it's actually a Marvel trailer that's not floating heads. So we love to see that.
Yeah, the poster looks pretty legit. I'm curious if it's going to be the final one that we get, but I feel like we're probably going to get one more before it comes out.
Yeah, probably. Another big trailer that came out was, it came out a little earlier, but it was also in the Super Bowl, was the Jurassic World Dominion trailer. Super highly anticipated movie of this year. It was pretty high on my list, and it's probably going to make $1 billion. What do you think?
Yeah, it's probably going to make $1 billion. I'm always excited to see Chris Pratt back in the Jurassic franchise. He was still the better part of the second one, and even though I thought the second one was utter garbage, me and Daniel will probably be seeing this around my birthday this year anyway. So, regardless if it's good or bad, even if it gets a 30% Rotten Tomato, we'll be slugging out to the theater to go see this.
Hey, I'm just happy that, they gave us the trio back, the OGs, and they weren't afraid to show us in the trailer, a shot of all three of them, I'd say that's one of the biggest missed opportunities of, the Star Wars sequel trilogies. They never gave us all three legacy characters in one shot, and then Jurassic World is coming by and be like, stick it to you.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, when you see that shot, is it's not even just the three of them, but you actually have both, there's not a trio really for Jurassic World, but you have the two main leads for Jurassic World, that franchise, because they're technically separate franchises inside of the bigger Jurassic franchise. But seeing all five of them together, it's kind of weird. It was just it's weird, but it's cool. I don't know, it's super weird.
Yeah, it's just the old coming together with the new, and it was cool to see. We also got a couple of those trailers. The Moon Knight trailer came out. I didn't watch it because since it's a TV show and I don't really know a whole lot about it. I saw the teaser trailer, so I just kind of want to go in fresh. But what were your thoughts? Because I know you saw that one.
It didn't really tell us anything more. Again, I feel like they're just really trying to showcase just. It looks cool, and I think that's what they're going with right now, because I know that they keep kind of teasing that it's borderline hitting that limit that Disney Plus can hit, and I'm actually curious as to how far they will go. And there's been a lot of rumors recently about Disney Plus maybe finally ditching its always family friendly image in favor of subscribers. And so yeah, the last bit of news that's really been coming out outside of the Moon Knight trailer, we have Kenobi coming out at the end of May, which is, me and Daniel are super looking forward to that. No trailer, we're already just can't wait.
People dropped the poster though.
Yeah, they did drop the poster, and that was.
I saw Jesus walking through the desert. Wait, what?
And a lot of people were really bummed it didn't get a May 4th release date, but then when when everyone was just wait, hold up, May 25th is Star Wars anniversary, 45th anniversary, I'm like, okay, I'll give it a pass for not coming out May 4th.
That's the real Star Wars day.
Right. And outside of that, the last big news before we start this episode, every single Netflix Marvel show is leaving. What's your take on that?
So I saw that headline. I didn't really read into it. So part of me is is it coming to Disney Plus? And if it's following that, Are they taking down that, barrier for like mature audiences? That could be an option. That's the only like logical thing that makes sense to me. Other than that, I'm just completely speculating here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's weird it's leaving Netflix. It's always just been kind of a Netflix brand and signature of Netflix. Yeah, but either Disney kind of has a tough call here. They either throw it on Disney Plus and they finally pretty much give in to the fact that, yep, Disney Plus is not always going to be 100% kid friendly, and that's not that's only a US thing where it's only kid friendly. They have the Star label over in other countries, and they use that to release their Fox titles. The other option is that they release it on Hulu, but again, Disney does not 100% own Hulu yet, so I'm not sure if they're wanting to keep. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them having both Hulu and Disney Plus, and the content being varied between the two. I really wish it would just be one, but that's just a personal dream and wish.
Yeah, and then last thing, really quick, is that Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV show dropped their teaser trailer. I happened to watch it. Anthony skipped it, but I thought it was. I'm not gonna say I was blown away, but it looks like it's very cinematic. It looks like it captures that world, and the money looks well spent. You look at some TV shows and like their CGI, it looks like it's on a TV budget. Amazon has spent a ridiculous amount of money producing this show, and I'm glad to say that the CGI and like the effects look like they're getting their money's worth in that little teaser.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with how much money, I mean, I have not seen the trailer, but based off how much money they spent just to claim the rights, how much they're spending per season, I mean, it better look expensive.
Yeah,
It better look
good.
filthy expensive when you see it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just gonna wrap up our little news thing. I don't know if we're gonna keep doing this, for every podcast. It's kind of, just something to keep a little bit of relevance to the episodes too. But now we're just gonna dive right into the Book of Boba Fett. The most latest piece of Star Wars content. A bit of mixed receptions. We're probably going to dive into spoilers here, so if you haven't watched the show, I'd still recommend giving it a watch, because it's still part of that Star Wars canon, and it's part of the better end of the Disney Star Wars, I'd say. So make sure you guys go check it out and then come back to this video, and we're going to be talking about it.
Yeah. So jumping into the Book of Boba Fett. First impressions, like, all right, if we're like first impressions. Episode 1 did not. I wasn't sold.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's because of how good the Mandalorian had gotten up to season 2, whereas like I guess I was expecting that quality, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to set up a new show, especially when it's really hard, like it's a hard cut. Coming from another show, so it's like you have to blend the personalities together, but also give the show a signature to it. And I think the issue I had with the Book of Boba Fett is its episodes were very like they're very stretched out to get a very small portion of plot across, if that makes sense.
No, I totally agree. Like the way the show is structured and the way episode 1 is, and I mean like I get it's very easy to compare it to like Mando season 2, but like I was even going in comparing it to like Mando season 1, and like, okay, this is the first season of Boba Fett, like I gotta be fair and compare it to like Mando season 1, and even then I was kind of a little like underwhelmed, I'd say. And so like going back to what I was saying, like the way the show is structured is it's kind of like Arrow, where we have what's going on current day, which is after Mando season 2, and then we get flashbacks to after Return of the Jedi, which is like him getting out of the Sarlacc pit. And I'll admit, like seeing him get out of the Sarlacc pit was cool and stuff. And then him like getting in with the Tuskens, like I actually found that part of the story a lot more interesting than him like running Tatooine in the present day.
Well, I think it's just the way him running Tatooine was structured,
right,
in the show. I also did not find it appealing, and I was like, I was getting like invested in the backstory. And then, they kind of just said, yeah, hard cut. All right, we're done with that. And I don't know, it was kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
but I also think something that, we're comparing it to like Arrow flashbacks. Arrow just had the advantage of time on its hand. It was able to tell this very big story across 23 episodes, and then it still wasn't done. They had another season of 23 episodes where I do think the Book of Boba Fett knew it was on a time crunch, and I feel it does suffer because of that. Uh, Especially heading into the later episodes, the Boba Fett story itself definitely feels like it got just absolutely crammed in. Like, to just fill the, like, they're like, oh, right, we only want 6 episodes, or sorry, 7 episodes, so we're gonna cram, like, it almost feels like everything got crammed into the last episode to try and or tie it in a nice bow.
It really does, and like I don't understand like why, because I feel like it was completely unnecessary. Because like those first like 4 episodes, the stuff that's taking place in the present day feels like it's happening at like such a drag. Like nothing's happening really. I don't really care about him ruling the town at the rate at which it's going. Like I'm like episode 2 I thought was much better than episode 1, and it was like really good at like showing us a little bit of the what stuff is going on in the beginning, and then it dove right back into him with the Tuscans and becoming part of the clan, kind of giving us little dances with wolves vibe. And I was way more invested in him like raiding the train and helping the Tuscans and learning about their culture than him just like walking to the bar and being like, yo, what's up, at like for like the second episode straight.
Yeah, I think the problem also is just the fact that there didn't seem to be like an overall threat, and I never felt like when they're having a standoff in the middle of the street with the Pike Syndicate that like that they're gonna kill him. Like there really wasn't any threat in the air, and they didn't make them seem like they were too big of a threat. And like they did in the finale, but up to that point, like they were kind of a weak threat to Boba Fett.
Yeah, because it's kind of like just like this faceless mass of a villain. We didn't really have anything to like pinpoint ourselves on. With the strength with Mandalorian, at least like for season 2, it's very easily pinned on Moff Gideon. Like he's the bad guy, or at least like we still had the Empire, and we had the client, that old guy. Like there were little mini bosses in the Mandalorian leading up to like Moff Gideon that we could serve as like that's who the antagonist is, versus you put it on the Pike Syndicate, that's really general, and like I don't really know who to really look against. Because I mean, yeah, they had the Hutts for like for an episode or two. They had Black Chrysanthemum for an episode, but like I feel like those didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, and I don't know. This, like you were saying, like even comparing it to season 1 of Mandalorian, this still felt like the weaker. So as an overall season, I would still say I like it more than Mandalorian season 1. But if I took episodes 5 and 6 out,
Yeah, I
and
was
we were
gonna
just
say.
comparing it like episodes 1 through 4, it's such a
It's
it's
not
such a
there.
it's such a lack in comparison. And to put it quite literally, Mando shows up to save the show and steal the goddamn scene. Like,
Yeah, see, like episodes 1 through 4. So like so episode 1 was like pretty I'd say episode 2 is the best out of the first 4. Episode 3 was another ding for me, because 3 introduced the freaking Power Rangers that I absolutely hate. And then 4 was a little better than 3, and kind of built that Fennec Shand Boba Fett relationship, which was cool, I will admit. And kind of moved it a little bit into the current Mandalorian day. But yeah, those first 4 episodes are really lacking something. And like, whoever thought the Power Rangers was a good idea, like, you got to get fired, my guy.
I thought episode 4 actually, yeah, like especially compared to 3, 4 definitely started to build up a lot better. I still think it was so cool how he did the end of episode 4, because you just hear the very
Oh
small
yeah.
hint of the Mandalorian theme when the episode's ending, and like, and then I love the fact that it's not just Mando showing up in the first second of episode 5. You have this camera that's just placed, and you see this figure behind, and then he steps forward. Of course, then you get the iconic Mandalorian music, and that whole scene is just ballistic with him using the dark saber. Like,
Yeah, and like I mean, you knew because like you saw the silhouette, you saw the spear, and you're like, oh, it's our guy. Um, but yeah, and just the way the execution of episode 5 goes off, like him using the dark saber, still inexperienced. He cuts himself, like makes total sense. With this inexperienced user using like a lightsaber, still gets the job done. Bryce Dallas Howard did an amazing job directing that episode. This is her third episode, and all of her episodes have been bangers. And it has the first, believe it or not, oneer in the entire Star Wars franchise. I don't know if you noticed that.
uh, it's not ringing a bell. Where was this?
So it's right after. So they go on the Halo ring. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
That was so cool. So it's when he goes in the elevator and it stays on him as he goes up the elevator, and then it comes up, and then he goes into like where he gets the payment, and then it like goes around the table, and then it follows him back into the elevator, and it goes back down, and then it cuts.
Oh yeah. I had noticed it. I just completely had forgotten about it by this point. Yeah, the way the episode's shot is super good, and episode 5 is the same way. Or sorry, episode 6 is the same way. Episode 5 and 6 are really well shot. Episode 7 is the only episode that I had some pretty big gripes about how it was shot, but we can get into that later.
Yeah. So and then episode 5, I feel like episode 5 is legit just Mando season 2.5.
The things I really liked about episode 5 was the fact that, so you have the first episode of The Mandalorian, he does the whole, I can either bring in cold or, yeah. And so having that callback, because Grogu's been gone for, we're not told how long, but I can imagine it's been a few weeks or a few months. And so he's kind of just reverted back to who he was, but he obviously has changed a little bit, but like for the most part he went back to being this bounty hunter, and getting to see that again was kind of cool because we hadn't seen that since probably the first episode of season 1, maybe a few episodes into season 1, but season 2 that wasn't who he was.
Yeah, it was season 2 was mainly focused on the kid, and then seeing him go back to the Mandalorian hideout and like still having that through line was very interesting, and seeing that the drama take place there, and like who owns a darksaber and him training and him fighting for it was very interesting, and then him getting excommunicated. And I saw online, and this was a very interesting theory that I saw. So he's raised and adopted by this clan of Mandalorians, and they're called the Children of the Watch, and they're like strictly vowed to like follow the Mandalorian ways, no helmet taking off, live by the code, this is the way, all that stuff. And it reminds me a lot of Death Watch from the Clone Wars, and even their names is very similar. They're the Children of the Watch. So some people are kind of theorizing that this clan and these like Mandalorians that he used to live with are actually kind of the antagonists and the people that are trying to retake over Mandalore for the evil reasons. And so by him, like, kind of, he's going to have to learn to, like, that they're actually the bad guys. Because right now it seems like he's trying to, like, kind of redeem himself to go back to them. But I feel like that one guy tried to get the darksaber back. So I feel like I could totally buy into the theory that they're kind of twisted underneath.
Yeah, I think the weirdest portion of episode 6, or sorry, episode 5, was really just the portion about, have you removed your helmet? And he says yes, they excommunicate him, and he just kind of walks away. And it wasn't entirely how I thought that would go. Like, I thought he would try and argue with them about the fact that there were other Mandalorians who don't follow that.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, right before then, she does kind of, like, crap on Bo-Katan and be like, yo, they're not real.
That is true.
And I mean, like, the armorer, she comes across as, like, someone super, super anal about the rules anyway, so I feel like just, like, it wouldn't have got anywhere.
Yeah, like, no, it was just the fact that it's just the fact that he kind of just went with it. Like, I don't know. It's not exactly how I see him personality-wise.
That's fair.
Especially when, I mean, yeah, he chose to take it off when it came to Grogu, but the other time, it was mission fail or take it off.
But that was also for the kid to
It
get
was
the
for the
coordinates
kid, but
for
straight up,
Grogu.
mission
Yeah,
would have. But like
I
in
know.
that
I
scenario,
know.
mission straight up would have failed. They would have been screwed if he hadn't have done it.
Yeah, but I mean, but it also says something about Din's characters because like they weren't there. He could have been like, no.
That's true. Yeah, the fact he was truthful about it.
Like I think that says something that he was like honest and able to own up, knowing the consequences.
Yeah, and
That he was like, yep.
I think that just Filoni and Favreau I think they have a better idea of where they're taking Mando's character, and I don't want to come off as negative, but I don't feel like they had Book of Boba Fett completely planned out when they thought of it, and I think it really, really, really shows because, Boba Fett as a character, I mean, yeah, he's cool, and he was probably one of the most liked characters in the original trilogy, but
He's not even a character in the original
well,
trilogy. That's the thing.
sorry, the one of the best known memes. Oh, sorry, that wasn't around back then. I mean, he went out like a meme.
I mean, yeah, no, but like everybody, that's the weird thing that I never really understood is like Boba Fett is like this revered character, and it's like, yeah, he's this dude that shows up, got some cool armor, doesn't say anything, but yet this entire fan base is like put him on a shrine.
Well, he did speak, but
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, he was in the Star Wars special, and
That's
I know
true.
they sold a ton of toys of him, and I think that's more where it comes from. Is that
because his armor is cool.
Yeah, I think it comes more, and I think it also shows in the show. Like, it's not that they don't know what to do with his character, but it's the fact that he's definitely not as interesting of a character as Mando is, and maybe it's just because Mando has so much going on that like he's juggling like 8 different things. Like he's juggling this feud with his own clan because of the helmet being removed, but then he also is now the holder of the Darksaber, and he's supposed to, reclaim Mandalore, and like so his whole and Grogu, specifically Grogu, and like he just has so much more, to his character. And I don't know if that's, it's not really to blame Lucasfilm or anything for that. It's just the fact that I feel like he has a lot more going on. And even in his time that he was on Book of Boba Fett, I still felt he had more character development than Boba Fett did during the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that they don't know what to do with Boba Fett because Boba Fett is a very interesting character. I don't know if you've seen the episodes that he's in Clone Wars, but when they took that character thread, I thought it was very interesting. Seeing him trying to get revenge against a Jedi, for killing his dad, and he's the son of Jango Fett, the best bounty hunter ever, and he's trying to make a name for himself in the underground as a bounty hunter. So I thought all that stuff was cool as for him as a kid. It's hard to do anything with him, in Empire and Return of the Jedi because he's such a flat character in those. But even the way he was used in Mando, I'd arguably say that he was the best part in. Was it episode 6? The episode where he gets his armor back?
Yeah, I think it's episode 6 because that's the episode where the child's stolen.
Yeah, he was the highlight of that episode. And, I think it's kind of like Hulk syndrome, like he's such a better, side character or accessory piece than the spotlight on him,
Well, yeah, and I also just think the plot is to blame as well. And I think that also goes into... so now... Like that kind of goes into the season finale and why. I mean, I think it was good. It's not great. There's definitely some issues with it.
We're gonna talk about episode 6 before.
Yeah, but like it kind of goes hand in hand with just Boba Fett as a character and him being the spotlight of this show. I mean, he's only in the show in his own flippin' show for 4.5 episodes. And I mean, so Boba Fett's in Mandalorian, but he's only in the Mandalorian for like what, half an episode? But like where he's like really where he has a lot of screen time, he probably has about half an episode worth.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Mando comes in here and literally steals not 1 but 2 of 7 episodes is kind of nuts.
Yeah. Now, granted, I do understand that it's called the Book of Boba Fett, and it's like this whole Mandalorian Star Wars chapter book where it's all added into one, and I assume that Ahsoka and those other
Are gonna act the
shows are going to
same.
be similar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're all gonna take this very structured approach at. I just feel like they're all gonna kind of branch off of the Mandalorian.
Yeah, which I totally understand and totally respect, because it's like kind of like this. By the end, we'll have this like weird Filoni Favreau collection, and I think that's going to be cool.
Yeah, and so episode 5, solid. I love the callback to the Phantom Menace with his ship, and you know,
And with the
yeah,
pod racing track.
yeah, and the pod racing track. Yeah, I mean, episode 5 is just really good. Moving along to episode 6, I love that in the ending of episode 5. It's just like, yeah, free of charge.
I got to see a friend though.
Yeah, but I got to do something first. And then episode 6, I believe immediately you just start by going out there. And
No. Episode 6 started with the guns with Cobb Vanth, the gunslinger, the marshal, and the
taking out the spice.
Yeah, taking out the pikes. I thought that was badass.
That
was cool to see him again.
My bad.
He's like, think it through. I love that line. Like,
yeah, I think I thought it was earlier than that. So I think that was why I just glanced over that for a second. Yeah, no, that was a really cool scene. And I love the fact that they're just like, this is worth more than your entire town. He says, okay. Go. Bye. Yeah.
And he just kicks it.
Yeah, literally. But, yeah, so that happens. And then we cut to Mando going to, I believe he went to where Luke's Jedi temple is being built.
I mean, it would make sense. It looks like the way the temple is structured, it looks similar. Yeah, so I mean, he touches down. As soon as I saw the radio dish, I was like, oh, R2. It's so refreshing to see R2. You don't think it's like as refreshing because we pay attention like, oh, when Luke shows up, or oh, when Cad Bane shows up, Boba Fett, but like, it's R2, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't exactly how I thought that was going to go. I mean, it makes sense. They have gotten much better at de-aging in the Book of Boba Fett with Luke Skywalker because, wow.
Because they deep-faked it.
Oh my gosh, it is such a drastic change, but it is so much better than what we got.
Shout out to the guy that Disney hired, because that dude's awesome.
Yeah, and there were a few times where it definitely, I'm like, yeah, this is totally like fake. But like most of the time, it was probably some of the best work I've ever seen when it comes to making someone look like something else. Like, it was really well done.
Yeah, like I'd say 9 out of the 10 times I was like, wow. The audio, like when he talks, it's like kind of weird sometimes because it's like a weird computer amalgamation of audio and archive footage. But I thought it was like very smart for them to like kind of cut away from his face whenever he talks so that it's not like super weird.
Yeah, and I like the arc they went on with Luke and Grogu in this episode, and it was refreshing to see Ahsoka back for, a little portion of the episode. She definitely isn't a highlight. She's only there for a little bit, but she's definitely there to convey to Mando that, Grogu seeing him could potentially have him leave Luke.
Yeah, like, and granted, like, I feel like out of all the cameos or whatever in this episode, hers is the most unnecessary. Because basically Luke could do everything that Ahsoka's doing in this episode.
Yeah, but I know why it was shoved in there.
I think my reason is because it's way cheaper and would look terrible if Luke had to do all that.
That's true. It probably was cheaper to do it that way. And I think this was... Because I don't think we're going to see more of Ahsoka in Mandalorian Season 3. I think this was, her branching off now to her own section.
Yeah.
I'm curious how much more of Luke we're going to be getting in The Mandalorian.
I mean, seeing as though like he didn't show up in the finale, I feel like we're kind of saying goodbye to him.
Yeah. But that's a little off topic, so we'll get to that eventually.
And then seeing Ahsoka and Luke interact was really cool. It's just crazy how far this character has come, from being Anakin's Padawan to being all the way this long into the canon. And I would have loved to see their first interaction. I don't know if we'll ever see that, but it was cool
Yeah,
seeing
it's
them together.
unlikely, but the fact that they now have shared screen time together is cool.
Yeah, for sure. And then I thought all the callbacks to Empire with Luke training with Grogu, like he did with Yoda, putting him in the backpack, doing the front flip, running through the forest, lifting up all the stuff. Like, it was just so cool.
Yeah, there's two scenes with Grogu that stood out to me as just what the hell. There's this scene where they're walking where he says, "Let's go for a
Oh,
walk," and he is literally like force pushing him forward a little bit, and then he takes
he's
a
like,
couple steps, and then he pushes him forward again, and that was just like, wow. And then the other one is when Grogu's having the Jedi training laser, and
oh, yeah.
eventually Grogu just gets pissed off and just freaking crushes the thing.
Yeah, like, okay, so going to the walking thing, I thought that's hilarious that Grandmaster Luke is like, no, I don't have the time to, like, go at your pace. Like, you're walking with me. And then, yeah, when he kills the robot, I was like, dang, that's not a Jedi thing to do. Like, I was like, that's not good. So, like, I mean, I don't know, like, if they're going to explore this, like, little darkness, repressed stuff that Grogu has in him, and because, like, we've seen, like, little bursts of him to be, like, extremely powerful with the Force. And, I mean, granted, I don't know if that's, like, comes with his kind because Yoda was so powerful, or if he
Right.
does have some darkness in him. And he hasn't chosen the Jedi path. And so I don't know. And then it was really cool to see the Order 66 scene and, Clone Troopers live action for the first time since 2005, 3, when, 5? When was episode 3?
2005. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it was weird. Not gonna lie. Like, my question is where did he get it?
What do you mean? Where do you get it?
Where did he get so I know I'm moving along, but like where did he get Yoda's lightsaber?
Oh. Yeah, that part. I mean, you just recover lightsabers from thin air. Because, like, how did Maz Kanata get Luke's?
That's true. It's a
That's
story
just
for
what
another time.
That's what we do in Disney. We just
Yeah.
get people's lightsabers. And then, okay, so to that point, to that scene, I don't know why, but, like, when I was watching it, I was like, I really didn't, like, I was like, I know the right answer is for him to pick the freaking lightsaber, right? Like, that's the Jedi answer.
Right.
But, like, I don't want him having Yoda's lightsaber. I want him to make his own lightsaber, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely kind of weird. Yeah, and I'm on the same page where it's like the right answer was to choose the lightsaber, but from a financial decision for Disney,
You got to keep Grogu around.
pretty much, yeah. That's really all it comes down to is, yeah.
But to that point, though, like, I mean, a big concern that we had going into Mando season 3 was, can we see Din without Grogu? Is that going to work? And I feel like,
I think the argument that the Book of Boba Fett proved to us is yes, absolutely, we could have had the Mandalorian without Grogu because he still kicked ass when he didn't have Grogu.
Because all of episode 5 was still awesome without Grogu.
Yeah, I mean, literally there were small calls to Grogu, but like outside of that, it was just very Mandalorian.
Yeah, so, like, good job on Disney. Like, they've put in the work for us to care about Din enough that we don't need Grogu to care about Din.
I just also think it just helps that his story is at such a big arc right now. Like, there's so many directions it needs to go, and so he's got a lot of opportunities of where the story can go with that, and I think that's why as a viewer we're invested into where this is going.
Yeah, and then so we missed a big part of episode 6. So we cut back to Mos Espa.
Yes, sir. The big grand reveal.
That was dope, dude.
That was dope.
Screw that deputy, man. That dude's a dumbass.
Yeah. So the weird thing was, okay, so Cad Bane shows up. Cool as hell. But he shoots the marshal once, and he shoots the deputy like 4 times. So I thought, oh, so the marshal's gonna still be alive, but he's gonna be in like critical condition. And this starts to lead into why I have issues with the finale. Because I can understand the deputy being killed. Like, he was shot like 4 times.
Oh yeah,
Well,
that dude
yeah,
was
like
dead on impact. Like I was like, and you deserve to die, dude. You sucked.
yeah, like Cad Bane shot him like 4 times. Like, he shot him once and he just kept shooting him. Like, I was like, yeah, that guy's dead. But the marshal like shot once. I thought, this is more a warning, and so I figured,
Yeah, and
one shot warning.
And I also feel like Cad Bane, like at least through their little interaction, he's got way more respect for Cobb Vanth than that deputy. That's like, what are you doing here, man? It's like, no, I'm killing you, dude.
Yeah, I honestly knew it was Cad Bane the moment I saw the figures showing up in the distance. I'm like, yo, is that who I think it is?
Right, and like honestly, like if I'm being real with you, like I saw him come up and like I saw him get ready. I'm like, I was scared. I was like, I love Cobb Vanth. There is no way in hell you're beating him, because I saw him in Bad Batch. He took out Hunter so easily, and I'm like, dude, nobody's faster than Cad Bane except for Boba. Like, you're dead. I was like, dude, they're gonna kill him. Like, there's no way they're not gonna discredit Cad Bane like that and just have him like wound him. Thank God the deputy showed up for him to kill the deputy and only wound Cobb Vanth, because I was like, there's no way he's losing. Like, you can't lose.
Right. Yeah, and so that was a epic portion, and then I believe after that, then we cut to the Luke and Grogu scene, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we we do this a lot on the podcast where we skip around.
Right. Yeah. I just didn't want to miss that big scene.
But yeah, so now we're heading into the finale. Grogu has been given a choice, and do we get to see that choice? No, we're on a budget.
Yeah, we can't give more to Luke.
Straight up, the fact that Luke just puts him on a TIE fighter and just shoots him away.
He drops him off with R2. He's like, drop him off.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of weird that out of all of the things, Luke would choose to have the personal attachment. He'd keep that from the Jedi Order, because I know that Ahsoka doesn't follow that.
Well, Ahsoka doesn't follow a lot of stuff,
right?
From the Jedi,
and so it's kind of, I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, I mean, it was something we never explored. Like, the only thing we have of Luke like adopting from the Jedi is Last Jedi, and that wasn't a whole lot. So like, we didn't really know what kind of master he's going to be. And I still feel like this is a Luke, because like Ahsoka says, Grogu's his first student, so this is like he's still learning how to be a master.
Yeah, I could see us potentially having Grogu around for a couple more seasons, and then Luke coming back and pretty much being like, I was wrong, and then Grogu going off of him. I still think it's too early.
Yeah, and another theory that I want to share is like, because the armor talks about like this Mandalorian warrior that will wield the Darksaber and explore Mandalore and reclaim it, and it's very obvious for the audience that the direction they're going in is with Din, but we also talk about Tar Vizsla, the first Jedi Mandalorian who created the Darksaber. There hasn't been a Jedi Mandalorian since. I'd be curious if Grogu becomes the second Jedi Mandalorian and kind of takes that mantle.
That would be an interesting place to take it. I'm not sure if that's where they'll take it, but that would
I
be
don't know, because I don't know how fast Grogu ages.
Yeah, but yeah, now we're in the finale area.
Okay, I'm gonna throw an analogy at you, and you tell me if this is an accurate analogy.
All right.
The finale of Boba Fett is the Battle of the Five Armies.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole lot of stuff going on, but a whole lot of nothing going on.
There's some things I really like in the finale, and there's a lot of things I really don't like. Yeah. Like, so things I like Boba and Mando having their little speech before their battle. I love them. I like when they're battling the Syndicate. And I like that Grogu's there. I think the way he's introduced is hilarious.
Yeah.
I like him taking his little nap, quality material right there. I like the fact that Boba defeats Cad Bane.
I was surprised they killed him. Well, I mean, I don't know if he's dead, but it looks like he's dead.
I don't think he's dead. I think that was the tease at the end where he was in the...
No, he's not in the pod. Cobb Vanth is in the pod.
Well, I guess we're just going to have to figure it out.
I feel like, dang, you brought him back just to kill him next episode?
You're right. They didn't show who was in there, so...
No, they did show who was in there.
They did not. It's a shadowy figure.
Go back and watch it.
All right.
Right now.
All right.
I'm telling you, it's Cobb Vanth. But, like, he got stabbed in the middle. Like, who the hell has gotten stabbed? People have lost limbs, fallen out of shafts. Like, people have survived worse in Star Wars. So, like, they could bring Cad Bane back if they really wanted to.
Let's ask Qui-Gon.
Yeah, well.
Come on, Rey's healing ability, Grogu's healing ability. Come on, where was that?
Yeah, I know. Boba riding a Rancor was cool. I'm glad they had that come full circle.
So I liked that, and I didn't like the fact the moment he falls off, it goes absolute crazy.
Yeah, why did they all start shooting at it?
Yeah,
like, I didn't get that.
Me neither. Maybe it was to have Grogu take his nap. Maybe that was the whole reason behind having it go bananas.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole show is kind of filled with incompetent people aside from Fennec Shand. She's obviously the smartest person in the bunch.
Yo, I was shocked that they showed that scene. Even for a Disney show, like they straight up showed her like pull one of the guys to the ceiling, and you literally see him stop moving because she strangled him to death by hanging him.
Yeah,
like it was pretty brutal, even for not showing it. Like it was brutal.
Yeah, they did in Tarzan.
But things I didn't like. The direction, the way this episode was shot, sucks, and there's no simple way to put it. Did you see the little, I don't even know what to call them, Boba's little gang? How the guy, before he takes a shot, when they're about to get screwed, he does a full 360. Yeah.
Granted, people in Star Wars have spun before attacking for style many times.
I don't know.
You want to see a cool trick? Spinning is a good trick. Whoa! Like, it's happening. But that
something about
really,
it was just.
That one was
I think it was
really
the music
awkward.
too.
I think it's in slow mo too.
There was a lot of things that added up to me just literally sitting there going, "What am I watching?"
And
I think in general,
cool. It just goes on for so long.
I think in general, my issue with the episode is the fact that we're fighting a very faceless army. There is no central villain. The biggest threat are the shields, and that's it. Like, I don't even know what they were doing on the roof with the sniper.
Yeah, and they too are faceless villains. Like, the only person that I care about on the other team is Cad Bane. He shows up and gets freaking killed in 5 minutes. Not even that.
Yeah, and again, like you were saying with the Battle of the Five Armies comparison, it's just the fact that it is a faceless villain against a faceless.
For the entire episode.
Well, my issue is that it's not even good action.
No, yeah, it's just people shooting back and forth.
Like it's like
in a street.
It's like you're hearing pew 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 for
that's
30
exactly
minutes.
What it is. It's exactly what it is.
There are highlights to the episode, and the highlights are really good. But outside the highlights, I don't know. I'm not sitting here clamoring about how great it was.
Yeah, again, I hate the Power Rangers. Thought they were completely useless. They don't fit.
I love their little speeders. They're so stupid.
Dude, nothing in Tatooine has that good of a paint job for more than 30 seconds.
I just don't understand. Like, why? Where?
I don't know.
How come we've never seen these before? And why do they look so stupid?
Yeah.
Them running around in them, it's almost comical. Like, no one would actually... Disney. Yeah, no one would actually drive that.
Yeah, and it just wouldn't look like that. They'd be, sandy. They'd be rusted. They wouldn't be highlighter colors.
Nah, come on. They're waxing it once a day.
Yeah, because those kids can afford that. Yeah, and then it just kind of... I will give credit the way that Boba wins against Cad Bane. I thought was cool because he incorporates, what he's learned from the Tuskens, and, that comes full circle. And I do like Boba's outfit is both a mixture of his old Mando armor and his Tusken armor because, showing some character growth. That's cool. And then the episode ends and it just gets wrapped up. And it's like, okay, it's all happy now. And then I guess Boba's the ruler now, even though they're like, I don't know if we're cut out for this. I don't know if that's a callback to like, hey, Marshall's going to be the leader of the town now, and we're going to go help Mando do whatever he needs to, which I totally would be down for because they're way better at that than running this Tatooine town.
Yeah, and then you got Din and Grogu going off on their adventure, and I love the fact that he says, "All right, only one more time," and then just watching.
I mean, you knew from the moment that when like he got that ship and it had that extra compartment, like Grogu's picking the best.
I think it was adorable. Like I'm not even gonna lie.
There's no way there's a second compartment on the ship and Grogu's not coming with him.
Yeah, and then they speed off into the distance, and I think that was a good place to leave their characters because I feel like it's going to directly lead into season 3 where they'll be on their own adventure, and they didn't have to set up where it's going either.
Right, they're just on to the next thing, and like Mando season 3 could go a plethora of directions. I would assume it kind of goes in that direction of we're going back to Mandalore, probably seeing Bo-Katan again, and I wouldn't be surprised if Boba Fett, kind of pops in for an episode or two, something like that.
Yeah, the weird thing is I feel like Boba Fett ain't gonna show up a lot in The Mandalorian season 3, but at the same time, after seeing one season of the Book of Boba Fett, it is not on my list of things I need a second season of, to be honest.
Yeah, I just don't know really where you go from here.
Like, it's not only that, but it's like if he can't handle a 7-episode let's even take The Mandalorian out. If it can't get a good 5-episode story in, like, I'd be concerned on what they try and do with a second season, because it did not lead into a second season, so they'd have to actually come up with something. And the way they've been doing, specifically Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett, is that this is the same production team that works on Mandalorian, so every time they do something like this, it seems like it's delaying the latter. And honestly, I don't know why they called this the Book of Boba Fett, because I honestly feel like if you'd slapped The Mandalorian Season 3 on here, the same outcome would have happened. Borderline.
Because you'd be mad for 4 episodes.
You would be mad for 4 episodes, but...
So I think it's better the other way around.
Well, yeah, but then when the end comes to play, you'd kind of be like, oh, that's why it was Mandalorian Season 3, because Mando literally steals this show.
Yeah... Nah, dude.
I don't know, dude. I'm not.
Episode 1 drops. Mando's not even in The Mandalorian Season 3. You'd be like, what the hell?
That's true.
You're like, why isn't the show called Boba Fett? And then you're like, oh, wait, it is called Boba Fett.
Yeah, I don't know. It's... The thing is I would have taken The Mandalorian Season 3 over this show.
Yeah, but this was necessary for The Mandalorian Season 3.
Yeah, it'll definitely help. Like, there's some things...
It's a part of the overall canon. Like, it's not just a Boba Fett show. It's like the Boba Fett chapter of the canon.
Well, it's also the good thing about this is that while, yes, it had Boba Fett's story arc, it also helped progress the Mandalorian season arc, so we'll get to start in a different place for Season 3 than we were supposed to.
Yeah, so this is mandatory viewing for Season 3. Like, it's not just right after Season 2, because then if you come from Season 2 to Season 3, you'd be like, yo, why is Grogu with him? I thought he went off with Luke. And it's like, well,
could you imagine?
Watch Boba Fett. That'd be pretty funny.
They think it's a flashback, little do they know. It's not. Oh, yeah, this is a nice flashback. Wait, this isn't a flashback.
So, but, I mean, overall, it's probably the weakest of the 3 live-action series we got. I'd say it's a solid B tier in Star Wars. Yeah, but I'd still say it's worth the watch.
I'd say it's worth the watch. I think there does need to be some expectations, because I think I walked into it expecting Mandalorian Season 2 quality. I think that's also where it came up as disappointing for me, because obviously that's not what this is.
Yeah, only Episode 5 and 6 are Mandalorian Season 2 quality. But I feel like a big part of that is because they were directed by Bryce Dallas Howard and Dave Filoni.
The interesting thing is that it was Robert Rodriguez that directed the finale, and a lot of people are saying they do not want him directing any more Star Wars episodes.
I'm pretty sure he directed like 3 episodes. He directed the first one and then the finale, and I think there's one more in there. I mean, he also directed that episode of Boba Fett the episode of Mandalorian season 2, episode 6, where Boba Fett does show up, and I really dug that episode. So
yeah,
I don't know
so
if it's
weird
his
with
directing
him.
style or if it's just like the material he has to work with. So I wouldn't completely say like screw Robert Rodriguez, but
Yeah, I'm not on that boat
yeah.
either. It's definitely interesting though that 2 of the 3 episodes he's directed are 2 of the weakest episodes in the entire series of both shows.
But he also had a solid episode. I mean,
did
granted
have-
too, like Dave Filoni had some crap episodes, and then he gave us episode 6.
I think where Robert Rodriguez benefits is a episode where there's not a lot of plot going on and there's a lot of action, and I think that was where his Mandalorian episode in season 2 where Boba Fett comes to get his armor really just thrives because it is a mostly action piece. And I think the problem with the finale of the Book of Boba Fett is the fact that they treat it like it's a big
weight.
Yeah, they treat it like it's this big battle, but really I probably would have liked something that was on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Like the battle felt unintimate.
Yeah, it felt very that's a good word for it. It felt very thin, not a lot of weight to it. But moving forward, there's some lessons to be learned from Book of Boba Fett. I'm sure Filoni and Favreau are listening, and hopefully they incorporate into season 3 of Mando, and that it's even better than season 2.
Yeah, and hopefully we get Mandalorian season 3 late this year, but I will not be shocked if that just happens to get pushed into early next year.
Yep. In the meantime, Deborah Chow, we're pulling for you. Don't let us down, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and don't forget, Andor's still supposed to come out this year as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen a trailer for that. I haven't heard nothing about that. We're rooting for Obi-Wan in the meantime.
We are waiting for Obi-Wan, but at least I know that there's another Star Wars show on the horizon. I liked Rogue One, so I'm interested to see what they do with his character, because I've heard it's already been greenlit for a second season.
I've heard that too. Also, can't forget Bad Batch Season 2.
Yeah, I'm still curious if it's going to drop in May. I feel like it might get a trailer in May, and we won't see until after Kenobi ends.
I could see it.
Because I don't know if they'd want to run both shows at the same time.
Yeah, I could definitely see a Bad Batch trailer coming out May 4th.
Like, I'm not saying that their audience overlaps, but their audience borderline overlaps.
Yeah, especially if they would both premiere on Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of something that Disney... I mean, I understand why they did it, but it kind of dampers the experience, the fact that they can't just slap different days for different shows. And I kind of understand it because there's only so much you can get through production. But I really would have liked for them to keep like a Wednesday-Friday schedule, and so they could have had, Bad Batch and Kenobi running at the same time, because one would be on Fridays, one would be on Wednesdays. But I do understand the approach of going with a Wednesday premiere because... it's in the middle of the week. It probably gives the most time for rewatchability and being able to watch it, because Disney's been pretty good about not spoiling anything until like the weekend's over. So they give you like a nice solid like 5 days before they put anything on social media themselves about each episode.
Yeah, granted, the dual release only works if like we're assuming Bad Batch is ready to come out like with Obi-Wan. Like I still don't know if Disney Plus has enough new content to be able to support a dual release.
Yeah, I think it's going to take them a few years.
Yeah, they're really steadily just releasing stuff one at a time right now.
Yeah, they still, and this is really good so far, they definitely seem to still be choosing quality over quantity, and I think you can see that in the Book of Boba Fett, with it only being 7 episodes. They could, think about this, they could be stretching these shows out to just ridiculous episode counts, just to have quantity over quality, but they really do choose that quality. I think it's also just the fact, regardless of if the Book of Boba Fett's not as good, I still feel it's equally as expensive as The Mandalorian. So,
oh yeah,
there's definitely consideration of cost when it comes to these, and I do feel like Disney is really going no hesitation on cost to bring these shows, and
spare no expense.
Yeah, and especially look at the Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian versus the Marvel shows. I think a majority of the budget's going to Star Wars. They are producing stuff that I feel rival even the theatrical release we've gotten, where I do feel like Marvel, because and granted, this is where quantity is probably coming into issue, is that there's a lot of Marvel shows compared to more selective Star Wars shows, and I think Star Wars can and does benefit from the fact that they're doing, maybe 1-2 shows at a time, where Marvel's doing like 5 a year.
Yeah.
And so I think, you just get better production quality. And I think it's just also the fact that the Star Wars fan base, even today, I still feel on a very like fragile, still very skeptical of Disney. And I think that they're going to do anything and everything they can to not, ruin what they have going with The Mandalorian right now.
Yeah, quite honestly, like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are carrying Disney to the Star Wars fandom right now and holding it together.
But yeah, that about wraps up our episode. We will not be having an episode next week. We will not be returning for new episodes until March 2nd. This was a good run because we really haven't talked much about TV shows. So, but hopefully you'll start to see more of that. We might talk about Moon Knight, and we might talk about, well, we're definitely going to talk about Kenobi, but we might talk about Moon Knight and some other things. Because we kind of lost track of time. We didn't get to do one on Hawkeye and stuff because there were just so many other things coming out. So hopefully we can actually start getting these out when these shows end. But anyway, I think that wraps up what I have to say.
Yeah, and this was the first time we talked about Star Wars since our very first episode, which was cool. And so hopefully we get to do more of that when more Star Wars shows drops. But like Anthony said, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you then.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Timebreaker Podcast.
If you did enjoy it, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and make sure to ring that notification bell for new episodes every Wednesday.
See you next week.